So with all that business building, you get to see other women in business come into these environments.
Sure.
And then, I imagine you as a type that takes them under your wing and tries to help them out. What do you experience when because I'm seeing you're probably seeing different personalities, either listen to those who don't listen to those who think that they already have all the answers.
Yeah.
Because I can't throw a stick in the business world without bouncing off somebody that knows Christina Krause. It just doesn't happen. You built a rather wide network. So tell me about those people who come in and think that they've already got it and you're trying to help them.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I think a lot of people see and know me as an advocate of women in business, and I always say, I know this is going to be controversial for some people, but
we're nothing but controversial.
I'm not necessarily an advocate for women. I'm an advocate for strong women in business, because women that come in and fall into the stereotype make our strong women's jobs harder. And when I say strong, I simply mean making sure that you, to me, strong is not complaining about the cross that you have to bear. And this goes for anybody. I don't care if it's race, I don't care if it's women, I don't care if it's men, whatever. Like I'm not about, yes, is there a level of difficulty that women face in a male-dominated industry like the real estate investment space? Are there hardships that we face? Are there difficulties that we face that other people don't? Sure. But there are also difficulties and hardships that you have to face. Everybody has their cross to bear.
100%.
My position on it is I don't want to hear somebody grousing around about the fact that they can't get ahead because of the disadvantages that they've been presented with. I want to hear you go, I see the disadvantage. I'm going to figure out what are my advantages. Could I even potentially turn this disadvantage into an advantage, something that comes to my advantage? An example of that would be walking into a room full of 150 men and you're one of 2 women. So the disadvantage of that is that there is no question, I'm sorry, you're going to have a difficult time swaying me, that I don't have to work harder to be taken seriously. I don't have immediate credibility when I walk into a room. I think for men generally, the benefit that they get is that everybody always kind of assumes that they're legit. You might have a little bit of a critical eye, but there's they're walking into the room, they're legit. I think for women, one of the difficulties that we face is that I think the first question in most people's minds, and to be honest with you, I'm probably guilty of it too, is, I wonder if they're legit. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I could cry about that being a disability, or I could just go, okay, that's the cross I have to bear. Here's the positive side of that. I'm walking into a room of 150 men. Nobody's going to stand out because you're all men. The 2 women that walk into the room are at the very least going to get attention, and I'm not even talking about sexual and that kind of attention. I'm just saying you're going to get noticed because you're different. You're a unicorn. You walk into the room. You already stand out. Yes, you stand out. That's an advantage. And here's the bottom line: I don't want to lose the disadvantage or the advantages I have in business if it means that I wouldn't take away the disadvantages if it meant I couldn't have the advantages. Yeah. And I think all of us should look at it that way. There are advantages on the people that have disadvantages. I'm not trying to minimize it. They're hard, they're difficult. I'm not saying that we shouldn't fight for, people being treated with respect and all of those things. But at the same time, there are also tons and tons of advantages to being different. Or to being viewed a certain kind of way. And I think it's up to you to say, like, okay, how am I going to turn this around? To me, being underestimated almost every time, go ahead. This is going to be fun. I love it. I love it. Women have to take responsibility sometimes too, for getting sucked into, as women, of course we're just as insecure as everybody else walking into that environment. We want to be accepted. So sometimes I think you overstep bounds and things like that in order to do what you think it's going to take for you to be able to fit in and to be accepted. And I think that what's important for women in business is to make sure that you draw ahead of time. Don't let other people draw your boundaries, and don't let the moment draw your boundary. You have to figure out ahead of time. This is my boundary. This is my boundary. This is where I stand. This is my comfort level. And everybody's going to have a different comfort level. I have no judgment of where that is for you. But you've got to draw the boundary while still being open to the relationship. Because to me, in business, relationship is absolutely everything. In fact, I want to start with that. It's why I don't mind the fact that I think more often than not, people are tending to connect with me on a friendly level before the business, which to me, I'm fine with that because that's how I find my people. You know, I'm like, okay, did we have a personal connection? Are we getting along? Are we a culture fit? And then if that goes to business, it's even better. Because I don't, every time I meet somebody, it's not like, can I do business with this person? Because I don't want to do business with everybody. I want to do business.
Relationship strictly based on transactions. There's no relationship at all.
It's transactional instead of relational, 100%. And I really think it should be relational. It can be transactional, but the relational kind of business interaction is also going to have a long tail. So I don't want to just do business with you one time. I want to have a blast with you, and I want us to be like a fit, like personality-wise and all that stuff. Because, dude, we could do the transaction today, but I want to be sipping margaritas on a beach somewhere with you 5 years from now, laughing about all of the things that we've done together and all the fun we've had together.
Driving to Bennigan's in Melbourne, Florida, 5 years from now. It's literally like probably 6 or 7 years. I think I met you in late 16. So where are we at? We're coming up on 6 years.
Yeah.
6 years.
Yeah, 6, 7 years, and here we are.
Driving to Melbourne.
Of
all damn places.
Bennigan's. And that's what it's about. Would you have traded us doing like one transaction together or having this interaction 6, 7 years later?
Oh, this 100% was well worth every bit of anything that we had to do to get to this point. And even that gap of time, I haven't seen you in 3-4 years.
Yeah. And all the other stuff, this is what people, like, this is where I do think age helps because you get the wisdom of, in hindsight, going, God, all the other business stuff happened too. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't the main goal. The main goal should be, how do I connect? How do I form a relationship? And the business will come.